Hello, welcome to the show. I hope you're well. This is the Process Network Live, episode 190, which is rather good. So welcome. We've got a few news topics to talk about this week. I hope you've all been well since last we met, which was just 7 days ago. It seems to fly by. It's what is it? 24th of November. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone in America land and wherever else you might celebrate that this weekend. I hope because it was yesterday, so I hope you had a really nice one, and that you ate lots of food, whether it's turkey or whether you had cornucopia, one of those things. Whatever you did, I hope it was great, and I hope that you're enjoying the long weekend, and I hope you enjoyed what is now known as Black Friday, that you've now got 2 more days to recover. I don't know what you do across the whole weekend. I know what you do on Thursday, but Friday you go shopping, I guess. Saturday and Sunday, feet up, watching the sport or something. I don't know. Well, whatever it is, I hope it's good. We've got, obviously we do our long break in a month's time because it'll be Christmas then. We've just been working, doing regular stuff. Anyway, Kent will hopefully be with us very shortly, but Andrew is already here. So let's say hello, shall we? Before we do the housekeeping, let's say hello to Andrew. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm knackered.
Yeah, I know.
I'm really knackered. And shall we get this out of the way early?
If it's what I think, no. Hold your horses.
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that
later. Hold your horses.
Hold my horses.
Have you had a busy week then?
Had a very busy week. We've been churning the socials for the mill. We got on board a social media company last week, and we've seen figures, watching figures, viewing figures, followers going through the roof. We're beginning to get donations in, which is great. And then on my business front, we've had a bundle of work coming in, or things beginning to get mad. I was hoping to have Christmas off, but looks unlikely now. But that's in these times. Be grateful. Be grateful.
Absolutely.
Have you noticed I've got a shirt on here?
I know.
Has Dr. Manny got one of these?
Not yet. No, I will sort it. I've got to get Andrew one as well,
and nor's Ty. Ty hasn't got one, but I'm not going to get into that because
I had a Synclavia regen here.
Yes, indeed.
I haven't got it here anymore.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone. Honestly, and I know that Craig will probably watch the show, and I don't mean this. I'm super grateful for them letting me have a go, but I'm not missing it. I'll be honest. Not to say, that's a personal thing, but it's gone to a very worthy next user. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say or not.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I will. I don't think it's going to cause. Mark Barnes has got it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's going to do some sound design on it. So
that will be good.
I sent it to him, and we'll see what he comes up with. And fingers crossed, he'll have a better time with it than I did.
Thing is, as with so many things, you've probably not missing it because you didn't have the time to engage. And it's one of those instruments where you have to have a decent amount of time or a paid project, which means you've got to be using it to jump into it. Once you're hooked, then you're hooked. But that initial investment, it's just finding that time in amongst everything else. So it was very good of them to give it to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Life intrudes. I'd still like to try it. I really would like to try it out and play with it. But if it came now, I couldn't touch it before next year.
No, exactly. And I can't say anything because of NDAs and all that, but it probably won't be the last time that something from Synclavia will pass across this desk, shall we say. So fingers crossed. And I know that Starsky did a video, or released a video this week or last week, and it's a good 30-40 minutes long. And he did what I should have done, but didn't have the opportunity to do. And that was, he spent a few months with it and figured it all out. and then made a video about it rather than doing what we did. I think what I did was stupid, but it would have been less of a car crash had it been a regular synthesizer.
Well, it was. Here's the thing: it wasn't a car crash, and I have to say, when we kind of did the not unboxing of this, and that show. I couldn't. I was talking to Kent about it. I couldn't play two notes together. So whatever I was doing, it wasn't great. There was an awful lot of weep and a, but there was nothing really to give. I didn't know it well enough. Now I could probably give an account of it, but
yeah.
You know, it happens. It happens.
But
that's the thing about a live show, though.
And we wouldn't have known how rubbish it would have been had we not done it. And we've done it. So now we've learnt a lesson. Yeah. Or I've learnt a lesson anyway. So
how rubbish not it was, but we were.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I mean, look, it's a powerful, deep thing. It's not for the faint-hearted. They never say it is.
Sorry, are we talking about Kent here or me? Or you?
Well, yeah, talking to Kent, he's not here, and I don't know why, because I spoke to him about 5:30. And I'll see you. Yeah, not a thing. So, Kent, if you're out there, hurry up.
His memory moog's got Alzheimer's, that's what it is.
Yeah, he has been snowed under with that memory moog, or another memory moog.
Yes,
I know he had Tiny with him as well, and I know that when him and Tiny get together, so yeah, I had a little chat with Tiny as well today. And speaking of which, we were hoping, and this is why he's supposed to be here. We were hoping to mention something that involves Tiny, and if you don't know who Tiny is, you will eventually. Trust me, you will.
Yeah, you will.
But yeah, so anyway, look, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for turning up. And let's just, before we do the housekeeping stuff, let me just say a big thank you to Peter James Stephen for your $4.99. He's got his Mac Classic working with Sound Designer this afternoon. Found the cable to hook it up to his emulator too. So here's $4.99 to celebrate. Now that bodes well because Peter and I have been talking because next year is the 40th anniversary of the emulator 2. What plans might be afoot for next year? Who knows? We'll see. We've not decided. But well done. And Andrew Brooks, of course. No, have we begged? No, we haven't.
And why couldn't you make it £5 and a penny to even everything up? What's wrong with you?
Don't, because he'll then just do some random thing.
It's diligence.
I
diligence,
know.
Andrew.
But thank you ever so much. And
Very
of course, Stephen Smith in Australia, who's currently living in the future, because it's Saturday over there now. Is $20.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much indeed. It's very, very welcome.
You're to blame.
So I guess I haven't done this yet, and we'll do this now to give Kent a chance. You might notice that I'm slightly looking off camera a bit, or a bit more than usual, because I've got a new Mac, and I've got a new screen. I've got one of these kind of super wide, Angel of the North things. That well, it's not quite Kent's Angel of the North. Mine's more like a cherub of East Anglia, sort of thing. I don't know, but I'm experimenting, and I was messing around with the camera thing. I've got one of these jointed camera things. It's only a cheap thing. Oh my word! To try and get that thing, I was hanging it upside down yesterday, and working with all sorts of things to make it the right way up and stuff, but it seems to be working okay. But anyway, so if I'm not looking directly at you, like
you're looking at the elastoplast of death.
I'm looking at stuff to do with the show. Yeah. So there we go. Right.
Should we do some magic?
Go on.
Shall we? Abracadabra, abracadent. Can we, do you think, get up young, old, bloody Kent? It didn't work, did it? I'm going to leave now. Oh!
What time do you call this?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've only just recently, I say recently, the last 30 seconds or so, remembered that the link to last week's show also works for this week's show. And I go, he hasn't sent me the link.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been looking all over the place for a link that doesn't exist.
I send you a link to a spreadsheet, and in the top of that spreadsheet is today's link.
Yeah.
Which you've obviously found.
No, I found last week's. You haven't sent me one this week.
Yeah. Last week's link's dead. It dies with the show.
No, I'm
So
on it.
you've just logged in as the admin. You're an admin. It's the same one every week if you're the admin.
Well, if you go in, we're not going to bore the viewers with this, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Not to worry. Welcome, sir. It seems like only an hour and a half ago-ish that we last spoke.
Was it really that long
we were
ago?
talking sausages.
We were.
How next time Tiny comes over, I'm going to wear a dog outfit because he brings amazing sausages for the dogs.
Yeah.
And I
they
love a
ate better
sausage.
than we did. And yet Charlie still had some of my salmon en croûte.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
Well, that's only
posh
because he
dogs.
was doing that whirly dancing ballet thing he does.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
seen that one. Well, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And you're well, yes? Well, I know you are. 'cause I
So
spoke
far,
to you.
yeah, okay. Well,
Cool.
I'm actually quite ecstatic now. I've got that memory mode screwed up and put
Lovely.
out into the toilet ready for pickup.
Hey.
don't
gonna
go and
splash
wee
of
on it
approval.
later on tonight, though.
It probably wouldn't make it any worse. It's memory mode, isn't it?
Indeed.
Does it belong to Uric Geller?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hello.
let's do some housekeeping because I haven't. I don't know why. It just
Okay.
it's the way it's come out. But let's do that now. So
It's a bit dusty in here.
if you haven't already, if you could like the show, subscribe even if you haven't, hit that bell for notifications. Comment if you will, either in the chat or if you're watching after the fact, you can do that down below or to the side, depending on how your thing is formatted. And do share us around like your mother. Because we could do with more people knowing about us. I'm constantly amazed at the
Really?
people that have 10 times as many subscribers and nowhere near as much amazing content as we have.
Or such
but
pretty presenters.
or such pretty presenters, indeed.
Why did we get pretty presenters?
Yes,
Where are they then?
here, right here.
We're it. You're the eye candy
We are.
cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you like what we do and you want to keep us going, then we need a little bit of money. But you don't have to, okay? You absolutely don't have to. In fact, don't. There you go. No. If you want to keep us going, we do appreciate a penny here or there. And it doesn't have to be more than that, unless you want to invoke my OCD. So please do. If you want to donate, you can use the PayPal link, which you see on screen now, which is clickable in the description underneath this very video. Or you can use Super Chat, Super Stickers within YouTube. So that's a thing if you want to do that. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, there's a thanks button. And you can click that and do the same as Super Chat or Super Stickers. So every penny goes back into the channel. It pays for license fees and equipment and booze and prostitutes and trips to Super Booth and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's what we do with the cash. If you want to follow us on social media, follow. You can do us on X. Unless you've left that, and I wouldn't blame you at all for leaving that. But we're still there currently. We don't really do much on there, but we're there. We've got Instagram. We've also got Facebook, which is where the main group is, where people come along and share stuff. And of course, we're right here on YouTube. We're also broadcasting on Twitch and X and Facebook. And you can comment if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube. You can comment. We see all of those. If you're watching on X, you can't. Well, you can leave a reply, but we don't see it during the show, so don't try because it's just pointless. If you have a question for us, we haven't got any guests this week, so yeah, if you've got a question for us this week, just stick it into the chat and put a big capital Q in front of it, and that way we can keep an eye on it and stick it in the appropriate place. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the housekeeping. And I'm going to do this because I need to test it. Is that working? Can you hear applause? No?
what?
Exactly. I don't know what happened there. Is there...
What a
I'm
wanker.
hearing it. I heard it.
What did you
Oh,
just
don't
hear?
give it away.
Shush. Oh, yeah. No, we didn't hear it. No.
I know what it is. You see, so what's been happening, if you're late to the show, is that
You can't if you're late to the show.
Yeah, quite. I've been building my new computer. I say building, just reinstalling everything. And one of the things that I did first of all was to put in the audio system and make sure that everything was feeding through to where it should be feeding through to. And one thing I didn't do was unmute it for me, so you can all hear. And now I can hear it, but I couldn't before. So there we go. It's all part of the service. We are here. I knew this would happen. I thought I'd done everything. I thought I'd got everything sorted, and it hasn't. Anyway, let's see. Why you gotta?
There's
Thank
more.
you.
There's
Thank
more.
you. There's more.
Look
Oh yes, John Simpson, fuel for the engine. Thank you very much indeed. Matt Evans. Thank you, Matt, by the way, for your cancel this week, shall we say. John Simpson again, Matt Evans, and raises one. Oh, I see. And then now I get why it's 272 because yada. Thank you very much. It's all wonderful. It will help us continue our sterling work on the channel. Right, let's get rid of those. And I think maybe, given that we are the ProSynth Network, that maybe we should talk about synthesizers. So I think that's what people come here for.
No.
And maybe I should just do this because then I feel less. What? Hide, go. Right. As I said before, pro does not stand for professional. What should we kick off with?
Something synthy.
Well, no, I'll tell you what. No, I'll tell you what, Andrew. You wanted to say something. Yeah. Let's get that out of the way, done and dusted. Over to you,
Andrew. You're all a bunch of... Oh, no. The thing I was going to say was, last week, I was just the teensiest bit grumpy and a little immoderate in my opinions expressed about the Genos 2. So, and I can tell you why. It's all because of Steve Smith in Australia. I was listening. He told me, and it was his fault. It wasn't me. It was all... Actually, that's not the truth. The truth is, I was just being really grumpy. I'd had a long week. And here's the thing. I hadn't had a chance. It was a rush. I hadn't had a chance to look at the Genos 2 properly in all the vids. And I think I probably went a teensy bit overboard, calling all owners of such keyboards people who needed to be followed by the authorities. It was a little over the top. So I just want to make it clear. They may need to be followed by the authorities, but the Genos 2, I get that it's a synth which, for people touring and doing the kinds of things they do, it actually makes sense. The sounds aren't that bad. I thought they were, but they're actually pretty good. There's some nice sounds on there. But it's still $5,000. That's the bit that gets me. It's $5,000. It should be 2. So... And that's just so that you all know that if I make a cock up and I get something wrong, I want you to know I will come back and tell you, because you need to know that I'm not just making this stuff up, which I was last week.
Well, funnily enough, at this very moment in time, and should I be promoting other synth channels whilst we're live?
Well, you could if they were synth channels rather than...
Well, I guess if anybody's really interested in the Genos, they're probably not fans of us anyway, because we did get a few funny comments.
Yeah.
But Woody from Woody's Piano Shack was watching the show last week and left a comment on the video, and it was a perfectly fine, nice, valid comment. But he's now doing a live stream with a Genos 2. And if anybody knows what these things are all about, it's Woody. He's very well versed in these things. So maybe
he's doing that now.
Yeah, he's doing that now. But don't leave us now. Brilliant. That sorted that.
Oh, that was too much. That
too
was
much.
long enough.
Yeah,
that was long enough.
But yeah, have a watch of that, and I'm sure you'll get a much better impression. Look, it is what it is. It's not for us. That was the thing. It's not for the kinds of people that watch this show. It's for other people who do other things with electronic musical instruments, and it has a market. It's just not the market that we pander to. And so that's maybe why we were a little flippant.
5,000. And of course, I was being a snob because I've got this, and I was just kind of, what? Why?
Well, I have a statement.
Go on then.
Bothered? Do I look bothered?
I'm a bothered though.
Am I bothered though? Do I look bothered though?
Face bothered.
The thing is, right, at the end of the day, when everybody just calms down and steps back, all of this stuff are inanimate objects. Get the fuck over yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
Calm down.
Exactly. It's all
I've had
just
people say
stuff.
to me, go, oh, CS80, it's heavy, it's expensive, it sounds like shit, they're horrible. And I make my living from it, and I love the keyboard dearly. Do I want to kill them over it? No. Because not bothered.
Not bothered. Not bothered though.
Apparel.
Indeed.
Bothered not.
No. So there you go.
So, Robbie, that's permission for you to go and nick his M8X. There you go.
Yeah, because he's not bothered.
No, money, different thing, right? But, inanimate, bothered not.
Inanimate.
Yeah, behave yourself, so I'll start doing me Japanese henty schoolgirl.
Anyway, shall we talk about something? Let's talk about something a little less controversial. And actually,
go on then.
This has been controversial
Palestine.
in ways that this company, I don't believe, have been used to. So let's kick things off with probably the most surprising news of the week, and that was the launch of the brand new thing from Teenage Engineering, the KO2. So we got wind of this before it went public, and we're looking at it and thinking that's going to be expensive. Either that's really small or it's going to be expensive. And it was neither of those things. It just really wasn't. So if you've been living on Mars and you've just returned to Earth, it's not Muhammad Ali, but it's this thing. And this is the KO2. It's a 64 megabyte sampler composer. It's one of these things that you just sample stuff into, you play it through pads, but it's got that Teenage Engineering design vibe. Look at it. I mean, it does look rather nice. It looks like it was made with Lego Technic stuff. And I read somewhere, and I wasn't entirely sure if they were being serious or not, but apparently it's compatible with Lego Technic. I don't know if that's true or not. It's probably just rubbish. But yeah, you can see how big it is. It's kind of iPad size. And you just stick an audio input, or it's got a built-in microphone. And you can sample. It comes with about quite a few hundred samples built in. That little stick that you see just below the boxing glove there is just a pitch shift, so you can just speed up or slow it down. It's very instant. You can have 9 projects with 80,000 notes per projects, 4 groups per project, each with 99 patterns. Just read through that. It's a load of stuff. 6 stereo voice polyphony or 12 mono. Record and automate all 12 fader assignments, sequence in free time or quantize with swing. There's loop modes, pressure and velocity sensitive pads, stereo mono sampling at 46.875 kilohertz. I don't know why they
lost the rest. They lost it down the back of the sofa.
Yeah. 32-bit float signal chain, 24-bit ADCs, DACs. So it's got, it might look a bit like a plastic toy, but it's actually kind of got some decent stuff under the hood. And talking of the hood, there it is. And this is where this Lego Technics thing comes from. 4 AAA batteries in there, which apparently will last quite some time.
20 hours.
Yeah, that's not bad. You've got connectivity on there, so you've got a stereo audio output and an input. You've got sync ins and outs, MIDI ins and outs, and a USB. And then there's this microphone that's built in there as well. and this really kind of quirky little display as well. The buttons, everything looks very well made. Typically, teenage engineering style. But yeah, they do it in this limited edition 10-inch collector's box, which probably bumps the price up by twice as much. But I do like the use of the RE graphics, I must say. And there's loads of merch, of course. Plastic cases for it and neck straps and stuff. Look, teenage engineering come in for a huge amount of stick when it comes to the cost of what they do. This is going to retail. Well, the recommended retail price is, are you sitting down? $349, which I reckon we'll probably see these in the UK for $299.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a video that somebody put together. Now, I will need to give them some credit. So whilst you're watching it, I can't try and remember their name. But here's a little video, because Teenage Engineering haven't done anything, and all the synth tubers that got them beforehand, I wasn't really, they're big videos, didn't really want to. So here's a little video of it in use. So it goes on, but that was from a channel. I did put it up. DJ Fo, I believe it's how that DJ PHO. So I got that video from there. Thank you very much. I didn't ask permission, but hopefully you won't hate us for using that. I think it demonstrates it quite nicely without any of the waffle and the blurb from our favourite synth tubers and some of our not favourite ones as well. I'm staggered by this, and I'm thinking, I know I've got things like the sample track, and I've got an MPC that I never use. Do I really want something like this? And the answer is actually, yeah, I kind of do. I kind of do want this. Gentlemen, anybody want to have a go? Don't all rush.
I'm happy to.
Go on then.
I haven't had a moan yet, so... I love the fact on their blurb they call their display the world's first super segment hybrid display. It's a display. Everything's already marked out. It has lots of, it's just different things light up.
And it's a hybrid.
It's not a super segment, it's just a display. So, but that to one side, there's a much longer video which I watched earlier, which showed it off to be pretty handy and capable. Mm-hmm. And again, as we've talked about before, the whole idea of being able to compose and create on the move is cool. It's got a built-in mic, so you can do your own sampling. You can sample your voice. It's got a whole bundle of onboard instruments and SD cards that you can use. I'm not quite sure exactly what. It's when I saw the guy operating it at first, I thought, God, that's ridiculously cool. No, it's not. It's a good. It's for £300, which is what it's going to be, $299. It's actually a really good thing. I know that Robbie and I are both waiting for AZ1 Play, which kind of is similar, but the interface on this, I've got to say, and the size of it, I'm seriously tempted by this, and I think a lot of people in the chat seem to be saying the same thing. And it sounds pretty good. I like some of the interactions. It's not the most sophisticated of things, but it's £300.
Yeah.
And you can get all these other sample packs to go with it as well. So what I don't know is whether or not you can actually sample from externally, bring stuff in. Oh no, you can, because
you can. It's got an audio input and it's also got a built-in microphone.
There you go.
So
this isn't a bad thing, is it? Really?
no.
You know, on the move, sampling, sequencing. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. I think the one criticism, because everybody's got to find something wrong with it, is that it's only got 64 megabytes of memory, and of course
That's huge.
That's actually.
I've actually got the pre-release version because they did ask me for my opinion on this, and here it is. There you go. And
all the calculated jokes have been done. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Can you write boobless on it? Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
But no, I mean it's clearly 64 meg is plenty. I come from a world where we were sampling with much less than that and getting
Steam.
decent strings and decent pianos and all sorts of things. And most people are going to be using this with drum samples, and there is a penchant at the moment for a lot of things being lo-fi, so you don't have to have big, amazing, massive samples in there. And look, it's 64 meg.
And it comes with all the sounds already.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about previously, well, a lot actually, the whole idea of a limited system, of having a system which has some finite width, whatever, memory or whatever, it makes you more creative. And this, you still got 64 megs, even if you use all, lots and lots of different sounds, you've still got that 64 megs.
It would have been nice if it had an SD card slot.
I thought it did.
No, it's only got USB and then audio in and out. There's no additional storage in there. It's just 64 meg. But
okay,
that would have been nice just to be able to sort of like save stuff out to. But I guess if you've got a USB-C thing, you could. I don't know. Yeah.
You watch an app come out for Apple at least, and maybe even for the iPhone or whatever. There'll be apps. There'll be ways of interacting with it, and certainly you can interact with your laptop.
So there you go, $299 UK, sold out. Now I don't know whether that's sold out because they haven't been put on sale or made available to buy yet. I think it is all pre-ordered at the moment, but I predict they're going to sell an absolute ton of these things, because people would love to own something from Teenage Engineering that is really useful and very affordable, and B, it's a really funky little thing to play around with. Mr. Spong, your opinion?
Mr. Spong.
I love the design of this. See, I could see myself at one point going, Nah, I don't need this. And then go, it's $299. Yeah, but even if I didn't need it, it's kind of good price, isn't it? And it samples and all the rest of it. Yeah, possible. And it's sort of like, the chances of me owning anything by Teenage Engineering before was, just not going to happen. It was either the wallpaper table for I don't know how many £1 billion that would cost, and their invisible mixer. See, I've got one on the end of my finger there. Look, see, and for your 11 million and 70 billion euros or whatever it was. So this is good price. It's a lovely design. I could play about with this for sure, but do it in such a way where I wouldn't feel sort of like embarrassed because it cost me $6,500. So I kind of think I might like one of these actually.
Would you like the boxer shorts that's part of the merch?
To be honest with you, nothing fits me properly.
Give them to Fiona.
Nothing fits.
Whose hair is fantastic, by the way.
Yes, and she got fantastic hair. But I love the way she swears at you and then says thank you.
I know.
What the hell's that all about?
I know. Crazy. it's a lovely piece of design, and I don't know whether this is whether somebody at Teenage Engineering sat down and said, look, we're getting this ripped out of us. Let's actually come up with something that's really well designed, but actually everybody can buy, or at least everybody can afford to buy. I like it. I think it's very, very nice, very pretty as well.
Yeah.
Was it? Did I hear that they were in a spot of financial bother? They weren't getting the sales, or was I wrong about that? I can't remember.
I've not heard that. Not saying it's not true. I haven't heard anything like that.
In which case, I'll take that back immediately. Yeah. But it's suddenly it opens up a different universe to people, and
And it's actually, it's a cool little device. I do like these sorts of devices, and I've got a few of them, and I've got one of those Sonicware Lo-Fi 12 XTs coming when they're made, and that kind of that and the Sample Trek are similar sorts of things. Sample based, whereas of course the Sonicwares are a little bit more expensive. They also have a lot more storage on board, and they have SD cards and stuff like that. But this, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few people going, oh my god, Teenage Engineering have actually bundled into our territory and have done a rather good job at a rather excellent price point. I think they'll sell a bucket load of these. They really will. These will be everywhere.
I can't help thinking that there's a possibility that they're almost not making any profit on them per unit.
You reckon? Yeah.
That's a lot of specialist gear in that little box,
Yeah.
Well, you see, but not really.
Well, this is an
I'm
advancement.
talking about the case knobs, and the way the displays are made and set.
But if they're already getting that kind of thing made, they've already got a way of,
I haven't seen stuff like that on anything else. I must admit that those designs, those colours. I think you're probably looking at special
Mother Care
made. Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Toys R Us,
yeah.
But
these are based off. This was based off the Pocket Operator that did similar things in a much smaller form factor, obviously with a lot less, hardware around it. Could this be, given that this, if you flip this on the back, it says EP series, so that implies that there's going to be more in this series. So 64 megabyte sample composer, that's going to be one thing. The next thing might be, an analog or a virtual analog synthesizer, or a digital synthesizer, or something else. And we might see a range of these things all hitting that sort of £300 price point. And all of a sudden, Teenage Engineering become a massive... Sorry, what was that?
All 32 million.
Well,
you don't know. Yeah, well, the next one could catch everybody out. Shit, I want the rest of them for the series, but this one's I'm going to have to sell my house.
I don't. I mean, they didn't do that with the Pocket Operators, did they? I think they were all $99, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I think they'd be silly to sort of deviate too much from that. And maybe this is maybe they've just said, right, let's build a platform, and here's our platform, and this is the first one, and the next one will have a very similar display, but it might have some different button arrangements or something, but it'll all be based around some sort of similar platform. So,
and they've always been a kind of a Marmite brand, haven't they? You either love them and adore them, or you hate them, and it is the price.
I think everybody agrees.
This suddenly throws the cat amongst the pigeons somewhat.
Well, it gets rid of that thing that, because I mean, I sat down with the people from Teenage Engineering at last year's Gear Fest, when they brought that little mixer out, and I was amused by it, and I was more amused by their thought processes behind these tiny little rotaries that when I said I've got chubby fingers, how am I not going to knock the other one? And they said, you use the tip of your finger, and you go, you're having a laugh, and who told you to say that? But there you go.
Your wife.
Yeah, but when you've got it in your hand, as one does,
easy,
and you looked at it and you thought, this is an incredibly beautiful thing to look at. It's very well designed. Its internal specifications are incredibly good, but it's like however much money it was just a ridiculous amount of money, and all of a sudden that's the thing that says, oh no, I'll put it down. It looks lovely, it's it's a lovely digital trinket, but I just don't have that cash. I can spend that on a number of other things, whereas this gets rid of that cash obstacle. And then you look at this and you think, yep, I like the design, I like the look of it, I like the feature set, I like what it's got under the hood. Actually, no, at $299, that is not at all unaffordable. So they've got rid of that little stumbling block, and hey, here we are. I like it. I want to play with one first before I make a decision, but I like it.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, they want to send me one for free. But, yeah, I like that. Anyway, there we go. Teenage Engineering.
Borrow mine.
Yeah. Everybody's going to get the big calculators out now. But it does, I mean, it looks like that, but, that's kind of part of its appeal, I think. It does look like it's a calculator made out of Lego.
I think the size, I think you're right, though. The size does make a huge difference to it. It suddenly makes it, something which I wouldn't feel like a twat walking around with a credit card trying to program an entire something. This is now a decent size, and I wouldn't feel like a
practical.
Absolutely.
Ticks all the boxes. It looks good. It's practical. It's got a good feature set, and it's got an excellent price. What more do we want? We're always complaining about stuff like, here it is. It's there. So
it's a good thing.
Yeah. Nice one, Paul. One should come with every Genos 2 purchase. Well, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? But there you go. Yeah. So Teenage Engineering's EP133 KO2 is out now.
Koi.
Yeah. It's available now. Whether it's in stock is another matter, but it is. It's a thing. It exists, and I think they will sell bucket loads if they haven't already. Right. Okay. So let's move on to the other big synthesizer news of the week. It's unavoidable. It's inescapable. And I'm going to have to do something a little different here because of the size of the file. Where did that go? Here we go. We'll have a little look at the beginning of this rather long video, but I promise I won't play all of it because it does. What? Oh, now it's telling me. Oh, it doesn't like that. All right, let's just do this. Let's try that. No, it doesn't want to do it. Okay, well, we'll just do the website then. This is finally, after 6 years, Behringer have said that the UB-XA is now a thing. It exists. It is going to be available, although I've not seen any details anywhere of where you can buy this. But it's here. It's finally arrived. And there was a video, and I don't know why it's not working. But whilst we'll talk about this, I will try and call it up in another way.
Would you like me to bring it up and just play it?
I can do it from here. It's just that I'd got it set up in a different way, and it just didn't work, and I don't know why that is. So, but we will get to it. So yeah, this is the UB-XA. Finally, it's a 16-voice polyphonic, analog polyphonic synth. It says multi-timbral, so interesting to see how that works. Has a 61-note poly aftertouch keyboard. It's an authentic, in their words, an authentic reproduction of the classic UB-XA, including the original factory patches. It has vintage mode that gives you 8 different variations, basically UB-XA, UB-8 and more. Makes it sound a little bit older and a little bit crankier. Flexible 8-channel mod matrix for dramatic expansion of sonic possibilities. 2 dedicated LFOs, 2 ADSR generators, stereo VCA per voice, 26 rotary controls, high quality LCD display mode. The multi-timbral thing goes to splitting and layering. So I think it's just 2-part multi-timbral, although they don't make that specifically clear. Lots of space for storing your own memories, and it is $1,499 is what they say, or what they said in the blurb. Although in brackets, it's they said something like "watch this space" or something like that. and I think one of our viewers, Steve Elbows, contacted me during the week, and apparently if you investigated the metadata in one of the retailers' websites, they're saying it's going to be $849.
What?
Not 1499. So essentially it's just a bit more than half of what they originally said. So that's the allegation. I don't know. That's the rumor that's going around, that it's going to be 849. Now, it's caused a big stink in a number of ways. Number one, it's finally here after 6 years or so of them teasing it. Number two, 1499 is not a bad price for a 16-voice analog polyphonic synthesizer with poly aftertouch that resembles, and we can argue about how authentic and how close it resembles its inspiration. I haven't actually heard one in person, and the video that I was going to play, which I'll try and play in a bit, pretty much used a lot of the samey sort of sounds. It didn't really go into huge amounts of detail sonically. But even at 1499, that's not a bad price for a 16-voice genuine analog synthesizer with polyphonic aftertouch. Because you look at, say, I don't know, Arturia Polybrute is just over $2,000, and that's a 6-voice poly with loads of stuff going on. $14.99 doesn't sound awful, but at $849, that's incredible.
If that's what it is.
If that's what it is. So, we shall see. But look, lots of people will say lots of different things about Behringer. I don't want to go down that road at all with this gentleman. So let's try not do the usual Behringer stuff. Let's just talk about this and the merits or otherwise of this particular thing. Let's just assume that it's going to be somewhere between, let's conservatively say, $900 and $1,500, whatever that would be in pounds. What do you think of this particular synthesizer? And whilst one of you is talking, I will get the video up ready for people to watch. So Kent, as probably our resident analog synthesis expert, or the most experienced guy amongst us, I would have thought, what do you think of this?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't heard it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I have no idea. I don't know why Behringer went for the UB-XA. Why didn't they go for the UB-X?
True.
Which is the better sounding Oberheim. It's really hard. Okay. So, I'm still going to treat this like fairies at the bottom of the garden until I actually physically see one actually in a shop.
Absolutely.
Or a photograph of one in a shop. Because you just, we don't know. So, $849, it sounds incredibly well priced at that. It's still pretty good, as you say, at 14. Mm-hmm. Will it sound like an UB-XA? Possibly close, maybe. I don't know. It's really don't know. I really don't know. I wouldn't like to speculate on, to be absolutely honest with you. But like I say, why didn't they go for the X?
Indeed.
I mean, in the vintage market, an X goes for twice what an A or an 8 does.
Yeah.
That's the sound, the one where the filter actually is capable of self-oscillating.
Mm-hmm.
Where the other two do not. They do this sort of like weak, sort of like in the distance kind of version of resonance, and it's not, So, but there again, they're calling it an UB-XA. It might not sound like an A. It might sound more like an X. Who knows?
Internally, what's the difference between an UB-X and an UB-XA? What's the key difference for our viewers?
From what I speculate from working on them, the A came about because the RAM that was in the X became sort of obsolete, so they couldn't get hold of it, and they had to change the computer.
Right.
So they upgraded the computer in it to work with the cheaper, more readily available components. while they were at it, they started up the voice cards a little as well.
Is it a different filter circuit?
Yeah, it's a little different. It doesn't sound anything like the X's. Primarily it doesn't self-oscillate. I think they kept the VCOs the same.
They're 3340s, weren't they?
No. That's the 8, the OB-8, the final version.
Okay.
The A and the X uses, I think it's 38. No, I'm trying to remember now. No, I don't think it's 3046s. I think it's 3086s, which are transistor arrays. Okay. So the transistor-based repeaters that create the waveforms. So I mean, it's the same VCOs they put in things like the Jupiter 8.
Yeah,
would you believe it? It's the same kind of thing.
But the filter.
But the filter. I mean, on the. I think it was on the. If I remember rightly, there was an upgrade for the A, where you could have a Curtis filter, but sitting on top of their transistor-based filter.
Right.
And you could run different kinds of filter, and that way you could actually have resonance on an A, but you had to fit one of these convertibles onto each voice individually.
Well, according to the blurb on the Behringer's website, it says VCOs and VCFs based on reproductions of original 3340 and 3320 semiconductor designs.
Oh, so it's based on the OB-8. So it's well done. Now the thing is, they already manufacture. I say they financed AS to make 3340s and 3320s. So they're putting AS. I assume AS 3340s and 3320s into this. So it's not an A, and it's not an X. It's an OB-8.
Interesting.
There you go. So it will come with the same Oberheimish kind of cheekiness, but not with the power of the X, or the A for that matter, which wasn't quite as powerful as the X. But when you get to the OB-8, it sounds quite thin in comparison to the two previous versions of her.
Yeah.
So if it's got Curtis in it, it's an OB-8.
Well,
So
it's saying here it's got a 1-pass, a 2-pole, or 4-pole, 12 dB, 24 dB switchable filter.
Like they had on the OB-8.
So that's going to be, that is the Curtis, isn't it? Isn't that the Curtis chip?
The Curtis can do that, yeah. Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, it's got the lines on it, which is reminiscent of OB-XA and OB-8 as well. And so I think this is something that is going to sound a little bit like an Oberheim, but only because of using the AS stuff. So it's an OB-8, people.
Interesting stuff. I mean, look, yeah, it looks like a nice thing, and I'm from what we've heard, it doesn't sound awful.
Do we have the video yet?
We do. Let's bring that.
Let's have a listen.
Or say that the video wasn't really wonderfully explorative.
Revealing.
It didn't reveal huge amounts of detail. But let's just bring this up. I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. I sounded very Teddy Wogan there. So let's watch this, and we'll just play the first couple of minutes. He says.
Well, it's certainly taken a long time. Kudos to you guys. You have been super patient, but fear not, the wait is finally over. Are you ready for a new analog revolution? One of the most classic synths ever just got a whole lot more attainable. Introducing the one we've all been waiting for.
There you go. If you want to watch the whole of that 15-minute video, you can. It's on the Behringer YouTube channel. Now, whilst we're watching that, Rob from AM Synth has jumped into the chat and says the UB-XA uses CEM 3320 chips, 1 in 2-pole and 1 in 4-pole. Behringer have correctly used the 3320 chips. It's not an OB8. I think there's only one way to decide this. I think we need a fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
Yeah, I'll take him on.
Yep. So, look, either way, it sounds good. If the price is right, which even at $14.99, it's pretty good. I'd like to see somebody outside of Behringer with one of these, production model with the poly aftertouch, demonstrating all the sounds and the poly AT, and give us a full-on whiz. But of course, Behringer don't do any of that. They don't send models out to people to demonstrate, people who know what they're doing. So this is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult.
May I?
Of course.
Well, here's the thing. They have been sending them out, but to people who already own OBs, and they've been getting them to do some sound design. The people that own them, just looking at the videos, at the end of that video, there's a whole bunch of people giving testimonials who have done some of the sound design on it. And they're the people that have come up with the factory sound banks. And the factory sound banks are from the A. And that would seem to indicate that they must have, as I think probably, as Rob from AMS was saying, Richard, was saying, which is it's probably got the original chipset, or at least chipset that will work, that gives it the resonance. But who knows? We don't know. There is a video. I've got to say, the sounds all the way through that video, all the way through, don't give any clue. And it's kind of, I really want to see a twisting things around one where we get to hear each of the components and see what it does. That said, and putting aside the fact that it's Behringer, let's just put that to one side. 849, 16 voice of analog with poly aftertouch, and a whole bunch of all the modulation that you want, and it's actually got the controllers. Remember, we were talking about the desktop version of the new OB, and how Ty and I both felt that it wasn't as desirable because it didn't have the keyboard controllers, the ones that make it the whole playing experience. This does. So, it's not. There's going to be an awful lot of people who are going to buy this regardless.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I wish they had, and I don't know, but I wish they had done something with Tom, or whatever, to give him some recompense for essentially using those designs. But it's what it is. 849, 16 voices, bi-timbral at least. Yeah. And by the way, stereo voices. They're big against Genos too. Stereo voices, so you get that additional. You get the stuff that's come out later. So I think they've been sitting up and paying attention and done some additional mods. That's probably why it's late. But it's a steal if it works. My one concern, I think, is the DeepMind has not the best keyboard in the world on it. And if it's the same kind of keyboard design and it's poly, there's going to be corners cut somewhere, I'd have thought, unless they're making a loss, you're doing it as a loss leader. I'd be concerned about the poly lasting for any length of time. But if it's what they say it is, and you've got you've got anything else that does all of that, it's kind of a steal. It's kind of a steal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, I must admit, the sound of it certainly dreamed up, cheap 80s film score. straight out of the gate. So
yeah.
It seems to be hitting its intended target. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to trying one, but I just don't know when that's going to be because I don't live near any bricks and mortar stores that would sell one of these anyway. They don't go to trade shows. They don't send them out to reviewers. And in answer to your point about the fact that we've seen people with them because Behringer called on owners of the originals to do beta testing and patch design, and in exchange for one of these, and that was their wording, I believe, in the request was that if you want to get one of these, you can have one. But you've got to own an original so that you can do the comparisons and what have you, which kind of goes against what Behringer was saying a little while back. Is they don't like to pay for any sorts of things. Well, they're kind of paying for it, but anyway.
But this is a more expensive thing, is it?
This is a more expensive thing.
This is a much more expensive
but
thing.
are those people going to turn around and say, and be put? Because if you watch that video through to its conclusion, they've got some, they've obviously asked some of these people to do a little piece to camera. They're not going to turn around and say, I've been testing the UB-XA and it doesn't really come close to the original, but it's a good little synth anyway. They're not going to say anything like that.
They're not going to say it's a bag of shite.
Exactly. They're only going to say good. So this whole thing about Behringer not paying for biased or whatever stuff, it just gives some of these to people who know what they're doing. There are people out there that know what they're doing with these things, and we respect them and we trust their point of view. And that's what I'd like to see before I part with some cash. But it won't be a lot of cash, so that's
here's the
nice.
thing: the Korg Poly remote keyboard, the Poly
Yes.
thing, which came out a couple of weeks back. That's what, £500-600, something like that. This is £300 more, and it's got a 16-voice analog synth on top, regardless of whether it's an OB.
Yeah.
Regardless.
And also, we talk about the Poly Aftertouch keyboard in there, and we know that obviously ASM have got their unit, and that's in the Hydrosynth and is in the Korg key stages. We know that Fatar do a whole bunch of Poly Aftertouch keyboards in various sizes now. I doubt that this is a Fatar in here at that price. Is this a Behringer own design of a Poly Aftertouch keyboard? And I'm not saying it's going to be any better or worse than any of the others, but it's an unproven thing. This will be the first of that if it is an in-house design. So again, that's something to factor in. Is it a good Poly Aftertouch? Because there are good and there are bad. But look, if it is $14.99. That's a really good value 16-voice analog poly synth right there. If it's $849, it's a flipping no-brainer for anyone that wants analog poly stuff, and can get by, can get over the other things that that we sort of associate with Behringer. So yeah, good luck to them. I want to play one. I want to hear one. I want to see them in the hands of real people. And then, if somebody comes... I mean, the first person that is not associated with Behringer in any way that comes up with a UB-XA video, that's going to be a massive, massive video. I hope they've got a monetized channel, because it will get the absolute living crap viewed out of it. Because people want to know what this is.
Send us one. We'll review it.
We'd love to.
We'd love to.
We'd
love to. And I've used OB's lots. Send them to me.
And he's repaired lots. And I've only ever played... Did I play? I can't remember. Yeah, I did play the 8 voice at Dave's.
Hmm.
And I've played an UB-XA. And that was, to kind of round this off, it's been 6 years in the making. Well, I mean, some would argue it's been a lifetime because apparently this was what Uli wanted to do. You know, that's what got him into this business. But this particular model was teased, first of all, about 6 years ago. And it's now here. But in the meantime, we've had not only a proper new Oberheim. Oh, there you go. It says it's the Polyend, Behringer's own design. Okay, cool, interesting. Well, I'd love to see how that compares to what's out there. But so since they announced this, we've had the actual Oberheim UB-XA, which is a stunning instrument and sounds amazing, but of course it only has half the voices of this. We've had the G4 Software OBX. There are some in the interim. There have been some very good things. So obviously, you know, one's a piece of software and one's $5,000, and this one is neither. So it's filling an empty space in that market. So it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out. But look, hurrah! It's here, and let's play it before we, you know, cast any judgment. I mean, at 849, we could actually probably buy one, couldn't we? We could buy one out of the ProSynth Network pot and review it, and then sell it. I don't know.
Could do.
I mean, you know, like Asio Head here has just said, just get one, review it, get loads of views, and that'll probably pay for it itself. It's not a bad idea, actually. So, yeah, we'll have to think about that. Yeah. But it's here, and hallelujah, and good luck to him.
Praise the Lord.
Let's see if the proof in the pudding is in the eating. So let's get eating, shall we? Right. Okay. That's enough of that. If you want more information, Behringer.com. It's on their front page. Of course, you can go to the Behringer YouTube channel to watch that 15-minute presentation and walkthrough of everything, and you can make your own minds up from that there. Let's now go to another controversial piece of synthesizer news this week. Now, I don't have a huge amount of knowledge or experience of this thing, but the wonderful people at Polyend have brought out a new thing, or an updated thing, called the Polyend Play Plus. And you have to say that very slowly, otherwise you trip over your P's and your L's. But let's have a quick look at that. And there you go. This is the Polyend Play Plus. See, I told you, Polyend Play Plus. This is a new version of the Polyend Play, which has been out for a little while. The main difference is that instead of just being a sample-based kind of groove box, shall we say, it now contains synthesizers. There's been a bit of controversy over this because existing Polyend users are feeling a little bit aggrieved that there's now this new one which has got lots more. But Polyend, to their credit, have said if you trade in your old Polyend, we'll give you a considerable discount off the new Polyend Plus. So it is essentially this. I'll tell you one thing before I tell you anything else. Ben and I stumbled across this, and this was at Super Booth, and we stood around this thing and we're like, how does this work? Because there was nobody there to show us, and we couldn't figure this thing out for love nor money, and that's probably because we're probably a bit old and long in the tooth. But I just couldn't get my head around it at all. So, but I've seen people play these things and come up with some amazing stuff. So it really is a very, very interesting piece of gear, and it's 499 euros. Sorry, and now has added synthesizers. And that's about all I really can say about this. I mean, it looks nice, but it's not up my street. It's not my thing. So somebody in the comments is saying a pro synth network that doesn't even know about the latest SP1200. Lol. What? Okay. Whatever. Care to explain? That would be interesting. Gentlemen, did either of you get a chance to look at this and figure out whether it's something you like?
I did.
Yeah, go on then.
It's an odd one. I mean, the thing is, first of all, it's got, the original had 8 voices of sampling, and it used a different process. They've upgraded the processor to give it more power, and that's why they've got the additional synth engines, and they've got 4 different synth engines. So, and that's another 8 voices. So you've got 8 sampling voices, 8 synth voices, and I think you can run 3 synths at the same time.
Yeah.
The actual layout of it is kind of intriguing. And again, this is something which I think would be really good in a live setting. I can see this being used live. I don't know if it ties up to anything like Ableton or whatever, so you can start using it as a controller as well. But it's a nice looking thing. There's a lot of buttons on it, a lot of knobs on it for mangling sound and doing whatever with it. I'm sure it's not immediately obvious how it works. I'd probably have been as stuck as you, Robbie, but it's an interesting. What I don't like is the little buttons that you're pressing to do things seem terribly small, but it's actually rather a nice design. I'm not quite sure what I'd do with it, and I think I'd like to get one in. But I did have a look at the video, and I was kind of impressed with the sounds and what it does and how it does it. And it does come with an SD card slot, so you can save and do whatever with it. I'm kind of intrigued. It seems a little light on the specs at the moment for exactly what it does. Control doesn't. There's a few sort of things in there I wanted to know more about, but it's a nice thing. Again, there's an awful lot of stuff coming in this price range now, and now it's kind of spoilt for choice. That kind of controller is not my natural beastie habitat thing, but I could see this doing quite well as well.
Yeah. Carl Bedford, bless you, mate. He said he played it at Super Booth too and found it really easy to program. Where were you when Ben and I were like sweating over there thinking, oh God, we look like 2 proper old geezers who can't figure out the latest toys? Well, it would have been nice if there'd have been somebody available to kind of guide us through it, and I'm sure we would have got it. And just
before Kent jumps in, because I'm sure he's got some views on this as well, but you say it was easy to program. Was it enjoyable? Was it engaging to play, Carl? Did you actually get on with it? Is it something which you would want? I'd really like to know the answers to that.
In the chat. Yeah.
Kent.
Oh, and apparently our person who thinks that we're not all that because we don't even know about the latest SP1200, which still I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that. Apparently we're covering toys with fancy marketing, not real music toys that will be around in, say, 5 years' time.
Like
do you realise this is a weekly news type thing, and this is what happened this week? Okay.
Well, I can talk about the CS80, which is a proper musical instrument.
Or we can talk about the modern-day successor to the SP1200, which is the S2400, and we did an entire flipping show with Isla Instruments, and we even spoke about the Dave Rossum SP1200 that he brought out a little while. So we do kind of know about that stuff, but we work with what we've got, and this week it's not a lot. Anyway, over to Mr. Spong.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Spong.
Well,
no.
No, it doesn't. No, no. I had something. I played with something similar to this a while back.
Easy.
I can't even remember what it was called now, but I was checkmated in 8 moves, and I'm not using them again. So bollocks to it. I don't know. This kind of thing, although it's intuitive and all that to certain people, no, not to me. I don't get on with them. It's like, no. So
It's a bit like
it's
a
not for me.
harpeggi.
It's not for me.
It's a bit like a harpeggi is to a guitarist. Some people get it, and some people just don't. Right?
It's a bit like what a rolly rise is to a sex worker. Yeah. So it's that kind of thing.
I think that deserves.
Ponder. Yeah. Yeah. Chris says I'm too old.
We're
wow.
all too old.
You're quick.
He's no whippersnapper. Anyway. Oh, dear.
I would like to play with it. I have to say, I would like to play with it. I have a feeling those
All right,
buttons
I'll
are
let
going
you.
to be a little small. But
Well, that's the that's the tagline: sequence, perform, play. So clearly, that's the way to do it. Yeah, Polyend Play Plus, Polyend Play Plus. Now with added now with added synthesizers as well as sequencers and other sorts of things.
I'd like to hear more about those synths. I'd like to hear.
Yeah,
a
they
dampier
don't sound
specifically.
awful. They sound
No.
pretty good.
Sounds pretty nice.
So, yep.
No, I
excuse
don't
me.
think it was. Morgan. I don't think it was.
Thank
I
you,
can't
Ben,
remember what the hell it
for
was.
popping the link in the chat. If you want to go and everything we speak about, our moderators do put the links in the chat. So if you want to go and investigate further, it's all there.
Ken, have you got a Polyend?
Even Andrew did it as well.
I haven't even got a single one.
Yeah.
So, no.
Anyway. So there was some software news this week. Now, we're not going to go into massive amounts of detail on this one because the guys from Cherry Audio will be with us next week. Fingers crossed with an added special guest. But yeah, they released something new. Shall we have a look at the video? I think we should. Well, we'll look at some of it because it's 2 or 3 minutes long. But yeah, we'll give them a flash.
While early synthesizers mystified most musicians, ARP Instruments unleashed a 1972 masterpiece, Pro Soloist, a 30-preset monosynth revolutionary in both features and electronic design. Its innovative touch sensor keys gave musicians unprecedented expression, and it proved popular with legends as varied as Tangerine Dream, Herbie Hancock, Vangelis, Parliament, Gary Newman, and more. Tony Banks of Genesis elevated Pro Soloist to new heights in the prog rock masterpiece, The Cinema Show, featuring many presets that built up to an epic solo. Now, Cherry Audio unveils its latest, a virtual reincarnation of Pro Soloist, featuring precision-crafted DSP designs of Mark Barton. This goes beyond replicating the original. It unleashes it with full programmability and endless sonic possibilities.
And we'll cut it there and we'll speak more about that in greater detail with the guys at Cherry Audio on next week's show. Dan and Mitchell will be joining us, along with, fingers crossed, a very special guest to join them to talk about it. Now, the Pro Soloist is well known, and as they say in the video there, Tony Banks used it to great effect on the Cinema Show. This is, it was used in the kind of the jazz fusion world and the prog world, and it's got some amazing sounds. They're really infamous presets. But what they've done with this is they've done what you should do with every kind of recreation: be faithful to the original and then be completely unfaithful. So that now this has two 16-note polyphonic layers, so you can have 32 voices playing at once on this thing, either as layers or splits. It features monophonic modes, polyphonic modes, polyphonic aftertouch, channel aftertouch, last note aftertouch, mono aftertouch. It's got a raft of effects built in, including their galactic reverb, which they do put on a lot of their stuff. You can have all the original paddles with all the original presets. It's an absolute beast of a machine. I've had this for a few weeks now. I've been playing around with it, and the stuff that it's coming up with is just so not ARP Pro Soloist. But if you want that, you can absolutely have that. It's a really deep, powerful synthesizer, and it's $49, as is the way with Cherry Audio. It's a stunningly good piece of software programming, and everyone should have one. Also worth mentioning that at the same time this was released, Synth Stack 4, which is their collection of instruments, was released, and it includes this one. Normally the Synth Stack doesn't include the last one or two for some reason, I don't know what, but this one it does. It includes all of their latest ones up to and including this one. It's just ridiculous. And of course if you own a bunch of Cherry Audio synths, then your Synth Stack price will reduce accordingly and considerably. It's really a lovely, lovely thing. And I think, Kent, you also found this to be rather nice.
Yes, and I actually reached out to everybody and say, get this, do not get an original Pro Solo, because that is basically a dog shit with rosewood end cheeks. They have cat whisker keyboards that fail all the time. The sliders are awful. It's horrible. You can't get the parts. Do not get this. Get the software. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but in terms of authenticity, I mean, sonically
it's very good. Very good indeed. Yeah,
hits the buttons.
It's hitting buttons, and it's a damn sight easier to work with, and damn sight more reliable. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And I funnily enough, I like it more when it goes off at a tangent and does non-soloist things.
Yeah.
All the other little bits and pieces that it has on there as well. It makes it it's very nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a picture of an original Pro Soloist from back in the day at a trade show. Does anybody recognise anybody in that picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Henry Winkler in the background.
Hey. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Anyone?
can.
Yeah, go on.
In her little yellow cardigan.
Yeah, in a little yellow cardigan. That's
Or is it white? I can't really.
let's say it's cream.
It's the sepia of the photograph, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's
Yeah. It doesn't change
it's
much.
aged. No, it's aged lovely, just like the real person. That's Dina Perlman,
Yes,
just
it
there.
is.
Yeah.
Little Dina, ickle Dina.
Going, oh look, there's a big dog shit with wooden end cheeks. I like it.
So yeah, it's $49. It's part of the Synth Stack 4. It's just, I mean, there's one preset in there, and I just got stuck on it. It's something called, it's like ARP pads or something like that, and it literally is. It's just a pad sound with this arpeggiation going on, but it's so simple yet it's just so playable, and I just got every time I
carried away.
I got carried every time I played with it. I always came back to that, and it was just, this is really, really cool. Yeah, it's a great thing. Andrew, have you had a chance to listen, to play, to
I
purchase?
have. I didn't. I had to download the demo version.
Okay,
but I
yeah.
will probably be buying it. Here's the thing: the Soloist, the Pro Soloist. I know it's a pile of dog poo and all that kind of stuff because of the keyboard and the action, and it breaks.
Mechanically,
and the keys
it's a pile of dog poo.
break upwards, and you end up with all sorts. It's a pain in the ass to keep, which is why Tony Banks always had about 1 million of them hanging around. That said, the sounds from Cinema Show, the sort of iconic sounds, are sounds that I've always loved because they cut through. They have. There was more expressivity in those sounds when Banks was playing them, and Herbie and all those guys, than an awful lot of stuff. There's a sort of purity to it, which is really, really lovely, and I've always liked that sound. So when I downloaded it, I was kind of hankering for that, and I was really disappointed that I didn't have a Pro Soloist. I just went straight for those sounds, and I loved it straight away. I just kind of that's the sound I'm going to be using. Yeah, these are sounds I'm going to be using. Then, as Kent and you both said, you go off piste and get into the polyphonic side of it. In fact, you get into the dual polyphonic side of it. It's mad. It's just a lovely, and it sits. I've tried it in lots of different things. It sits in the mix really well, and as ever, Cherry have done a really good job of just making it sticky, making you just come back for more. You sit down, you think, I'll just try it. 2 hours, 3 hours later, you're still there tinkering. So, I'm not going to be here next week, so I just wanted to make sure I got my bit in there now. I'm going to be playing with it again later, but it's for me, as it's from my youth. That sound is from my youth. I wanted that, so I could, and it did all of that for me, and I loved it, and I'm with Kent.
Yeah.
Anything which stops the keys going poing, it's all good.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing. I mean, it's just ridiculously cheap, as they always are, and as lots of people have been pointing out, if you've already got a few, and you don't have to have a lot, you just have a few. Synth Stack 4 becomes an incredibly good buy, because I think Synth Stack 4, if you don't own anything, is currently $299. And you get everything that they do, synths and effects, voltage modular, all of that stuff. But if you've acquired a few of these over the year or two, all of a sudden that price just plummets, and it's ridiculous. Lots of people have been saying they've been paying around 75 quid just to get all the remainder of the stuff. And you can't buy half the plugins out there at the moment for 75 quid. So, it's,
I just wanted to know, Kent, were you on Grindr then? Did you find a date? What was
Yeah, it turned out that it was actually. Yeah. Okay. No, she turned around and she was a zebra.
No, that's Tinder.
Yeah.
Grindr's the other one.
Yeah, it was a male zebra.
Oh. You were talking about the Whisker Keys, wasn't it? That's what it was.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. Just had me thinking. Yeah, I know.
So yeah. We'll say no more on that, because we will talk about it in depth with its designers and its instigators. They've when I did my review, I said in there something to the you should have thought I'd remember what I wrote, but I said something along the lines of I'm just waiting for Cherry Audio to make a misstep and put out something that's a little bit awful. And time and again, they just refuse to do that, and they just seem to have a knack of picking the instruments that nobody else has really touched, and doing them really bloody well, and then adding so much more to them that just takes it to a new level.
I think I was the same. I was thinking when I heard, because we heard about this a little while ago. When I heard about it, I thought, the Pro Soloist. So I did remember the Pro Soloist, and I did think, that's a nice sound, but what are they going to do with that? Well, how wonderful can that be? It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It really is.
Lovely, lovely, lovely synth.
Because they've made it polyphonic, it now becomes a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
A master of most, to be honest. I mean, it is a wonderful polyphonic synthesizer, which you obviously wouldn't associate with the original. But if you want that original, it's there at the click of a button.
And I was trying to think what it reminded me of as a polyphonic synth, and there isn't an awful lot it does remind me of. It's got a sound all of its own.
Yeah, it had its own little signature. Talking of unique ARP synthesizers, our friend Alex Ball put a new video out yesterday about the Soloist, which was the kind of the last
one, yeah,
the last monophonic synth that eventually was the last thing to come out of the factory, I believe, or the last new thing anyway. 1980. Yeah, Jesus, seems like a long while.
I don't think I ever used one of those.
No, I've never seen one. Let alone.
Have you seen one, Ken?
Yeah.
So yeah, you had a few.
No, not a few. Maybe one, maybe two.
Oh, okay. So they are pretty, because he does say they're very scarce. Yeah,
they are scarce. Yeah.
Yes. There you go. Anyway, so cherryaudio.co.uk cherryoaudio.com. The link has been posted in the chat. I'm sure the guys will post it again if you ask them nicely and you missed it or you can't be bothered to scroll. But it's cherryoaudio.com, and Pro Soloist is available now on its own for $49. But they say they've also released Synth Stack 4, where you can get a whole bunch of extra stuff for not a lot of money. So there you go.
Penguin of Death approves. Penguin of Death really approves.
That's the only seal of approval one needs.
Yeah.
And say next week, Dan and Mitchell will be joining us to go. They couldn't join us because this weekend because it is Thanksgiving and they have families and things to do. And absolutely right. So yes, please do come and join us next week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and about who worked on it and how easy or how difficult it was. And fingers crossed, we have a special guest joining our special guests. So we'll see. Right, okie dokie. I've only got a couple more things to. Kent, you still want to chat about what we spoke earlier?
We can do it later. Yeah.
Okay. So this little thing popped up in my Facebook feed. I think it was Synthtopia that brought this to my attention. Now I'm going to tell you all about it, but I can't say if it works or not because my Akai S2000 isn't connected up to anything at the moment. But and I guess this is Philly Flash. I don't know how you pronounce ZH at the end, but yeah, I get Philly Flash. Have designed an Akai S2000 and 3000 XL sampler controller panel, or editor, should I say. It's for Windows and Mac. It has the very bland Akai-like face to it. It's completely free of charge. You can, of course, make a donation, and I suggest that everyone does.
Yep.
I just think it's lovely that these old machines are still getting a little bit of love in the modern world. And I like this, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you what it's like because I haven't been able to hook it up because my S2000 is down that corner somewhere with the S6000 and the Z8 and all that that's tucked away down there. But I just thought I'd make this. Bring this to people's attention, and it's phillyflash.blogspot.com. There we go. Andrew Books has already put the link in the chat for you there. If anybody else own old Akai samplers, or is it just me?
There's still loads of them out there, and they've become kind of, people have started collecting them. Well, not collecting, but I know an awful lot of people that have been buying, 1000s, 900s even, then the 2000, the 3200 XL. There's a certain cachet in those, and there's still some great sample libraries around. Someone doing something like this for that, it's great, and it's free. But give them a few quid, give them a cup of coffee at least, It's a good thing.
I'm just trying to. What did I do there? No, there is a video, but it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really do much. But yeah, I like having modern control over my old gear because I've got a lot of old gear. They do controllers according to their website. They do them for the 2000 and 3200 XL. The Yamaha RM1X, which I wish I'd never sold mine. They do 4 different Electribe controllers, the Electribe R and S Mark II, the EA1 and the M. They do an MPC 3000 one. They do an Emax and an Emax 2 controller. And then Sonic ASR 10, a Jomox Airbase 99, and a Roland DDR 30. I should actually try that Emax 2 one because mine is connected, so I might have to give
it a go.
Yes. So yeah, interesting thing. It's free of charge, but do leave a donation at their PayPal account if you do use it and find it useful. But I just thought I'd put that out there because it's just nice to see these old things still being supported. And the last bit of news that we had this week was this wonderful free plugin has been updated to version 3. Before we tell you what it is, here's an example of it being used. Now, I didn't do my journalistic job very well there, and I didn't find out exactly what instrument that was, because it's not the instrument that we're talking about. We're talking about the effect, and the effect is Valhalla's Supermassive, which is this brilliant free reverb plugin, an echo plugin for both Windows and Mac. It's had 2 new modes added to it for version 3, Leo and Virgo. Leo has a very slow attack, super long decay, very high echo density, filtering in the feedback loop for more realistic reverb decay. And Virgo has a fast attack, short decay, very low echo density, filtering in the feedback loop, great for complex echoes. It's completely free of charge. There's absolutely no reason why, if you use plugins, you shouldn't have this in your toolkit, because it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, as all Valhalla stuff is. But there it is. It's completely free, and it's new, and it's out there, and it sounds amazing. And I know that, shimmer verbs and all of this kind of stuff has kind of been done to death, but as was demonstrated there, it does make everything sound very nice. Very nice indeed. You like a good verb, don't you, Kent?
Yeah, I have Valhalla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you tried this new one yet?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to go and get that now.
It's free.
Yeah,
Console
even
yourself,
better.
in fact.
Even better.
There you go. 20 different modes now. Yeah, some amazing stuff in there. And I will try and do some research, try and find out what that instrument was that was being affected there. It could have been anything, to be honest, but
It sounded like
yeah.
a brute.
Could have been.
Didn't it? Did it have a kind of brutey kind of vibe to it?
I'll have a look. I'll see. Whilst we listen to Andrew's thoughts on this, I'll go and see if I can find out.
Oh, marvellous. I started getting all growly about this one because I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear the source without any of the echo on, and then I wanted to hear the.
Yeah, it's always a good way of doing it.
And then I thought, Jesus, it's free. What are you get over yourself? So I downloaded it and I've tried it out. It's brilliant. It's got some really, really cool patterns and things that it does. Delay things it does, delays, then reverb, and then there's all sorts of different things it does really well. It's not the best necessarily super big reverb, even though it's called what it's called, but it's a brilliant effect. I really like it, and it's free.
Did we say it's free?
Thank you very much.
By the way, apparently it's free.
Is it free?
Yeah, apparently.
It's even better then.
Yeah.
It's even better. So no, it's a lovely sounding thing, and it sounded really, really nice on a piano, on some mallets. I tried it with some mallety things and drums, and you can get some really nice sort of fluttery things going on, some rhythmic stuff happening with it. It's a good thing. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So I found out what the synthesizer was.
Go on then.
Go on.
It's not a Polybrute.
Okay.
Any guesses? Any other guesses? Anyone you want to?
System 8.
No.
Are we talking about a relatively modern keyboard?
Relatively modern, yes. After the year 2000. I don't want to give you too much of a clue.
Oh,
It's
okay.
definitely after the year 2000.
That narrows it down to about 30,000 keyboards.
Genos 2.
They were just
Oh, you
stealing
said
Matt's thunder there, yeah.
Yeah, we got sub 37 here.
Nope.
No. A Behringer Synth.
Hey, Behringer. That would be interesting if it was, but it isn't.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Udo 6.
No. Okay, I'll give you a clue. This will narrow it down quite a bit.
Is it a red keyboardy thing? Red
Nope.
doofer? None of those.
It's made in America. Or shall I say, maybe it's assembled in America, but yeah, it's an American synthesizer company.
It's one of those American ones, isn't it?
It is.
Is it Moog?
There's not many of them. Come on, let's narrow it down quite
Is it a
bit.
Moog?
It's not a Moog. So that's one off the list.
Is it an Oberheim?
It's not an Oberheim, so it
it
must
an
So
No.
be.
it's got to be the sequential something.
Okay, it's a sequential something.
Five.
No, Carl, it's not a P5.
600. 10.
Just go through the numbers, yeah, until you hit one.
7. 9.6.
11T.
Pi.
Subsequent.
Yeah.
Robbie, just tell us what the bleeding hell it is, will you?
Prophet 6.
Oh, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
I said that from the beginning.
Not
It's
the
a
Prophet
Prophet
came
knew.
over.
6. Through
Yeah.
2 instances of Valhalla Supermassive. There you go.
2 instances.
2 instances. Well, you know, say take 2 reverbs into the shower. He did, or they did. I don't know who they are. Yeah, but yeah, it was a Prophet 6. That was a silly little game to waste a little bit of time. But yeah, if you're into those kinds of sounds, and why wouldn't you be? Valhalla Supermassive is available now, version 3, complete free of charge. Do check out all their other plugins, because as well as the free stuff, there are lots of. So you've got Space Modulator and Freak Echo; they're all free as well. But you've also got some brilliant things like the shimmer, the plate, the delay, the vintage verb. They're only $50, and they sound incredible. I mean, they are really, really, really great sounding plugins, and even the free ones, you know, are worth having in your toolkit. But yeah,
But you do have to own a Poly 6, a Prophet 6 for.
only if you want to make a video like that one. But you
yeah.
can use anything. They're compatible
Yeah.
with everything.
Yeah.
There you go. It's,
Prophet
yeah,
six.
$50 for that quality is pretty stunning. So there we go. Right. So Kent, you mentioned something on the phone to me pre-show.
Yeah.
You have the floor, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, as many are aware, I'm retiring from repairing synthesizers next Thursday. And yeah, giving it the push.
That's a rather accurate thing, because given your history of wanting to retire from repairing synthesizers, the fact that you've specified next Thursday seems a little odd.
Yeah, no, but that's because I'm running it down to the end of this month.
Oh, okay.
So next Thursday,
Oh, there you go. That makes sense.
apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm moving on to pastures greener, or well, green anyway.
Greenish.
So one of the things we're going to be doing now is, as you well know, Robbie, Tiny Evans' massive keyboard collection in Coventry.
Well, should we just explain who Tiny is?
Yeah, well, Tiny is a
He's
guy
not tiny,
from,
by the way.
It's not, there's nothing tiny about him. Is one of the luminaries of the music business behind the scenes, as it were. Runs Hammond Hire.
Yeah, the Hammond Hire Company. HammondHire.com.
Yeah, in London for many a moon. And
He greases the wheels. He's the
As
grease
it
in the
were.
wheels. Isn't he?
yeah. If anybody's anybody, they know Tiny, and he's going to be the guy at the top of their list that they phone. So I'm going to be working with him now, and doing these sort of restoration projects on some pretty crazy gear. Because I think he's got the largest collection of Hammonds in the UK,
At least, yeah.
at least, and a lot of. I mean, like he said here, he said got Hammonds used by, what was it? Let's have a look.
Everyone, basically, anyone that's anyone.
Billy Preston, Brooker T. Jones, Little Richard, John Lord, Jimmy Smith, Keith Emerson, Pink Floyd, Elton John, The Faces, Sting, Ronnie Wood, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Dire Straits, George Michael, Trevor Horn, Elvis Costello, oh my God, Jules Holland, and so forth and so forth and so forth.
Yeah.
And then he's got Fender Rhodes, he's got Miles Davis, original Fender Rhodes.
Mm-hmm. He's got that Wurlitzer.
Yeah,
that has been used from everyone from Adele through to
all sorts of people have been using that, and he has the 88 note Wurlitzer, which are pretty rare. He has the only other 4 VCO Mini Moog in the world. One's in the museum, and he has the other one. And it's just a mental collection of keyboards.
Yeah,
and the names are off the charts. And so I'm going to be working with him now doing this stuff.
And it's not just keyboards, is it?
It's not just keyboards. There's lots of other. If you're into vintage cars and planes as well, there's a few of them talking about as well. Would you believe? But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff there, and so some of it is really, really historical stuff. So me and Tiny, along with hopefully with Robbie as well, put together some sort of some sort of presentation on some of these machines that are beautifully historical, including things like the Beatles' original microphones, Helios desks, Kodak mixers, and everything. They're all up there.
Are you allowed to talk about those microphones?
A little, yeah.
Because they're rather special, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they are rather special. See, the beautiful thing is, it would be great to get Tiny to talk about it, because he can talk about it.
Can we get him on?
Well,
no, he won't. He won't.
That's the problem.
Yeah, he don't do camera.
This is why he works behind the scenes.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he likes to be behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's very much a behind-the-scenes man. But because I'd love to get him on, because some of the stories this guy's got of. I mean, he was telling one tonight about how he said Madness have seen his ex-girlfriend naked because she went into the bathroom to have a bath. So she'd come in from work, she gets undressed and goes over into the bathroom, opens the door, and Madness are in the bathroom watching Naked Gun. And she screams at them, closes the door, runs into Tiny, and she goes, "There's men in the bathroom." He goes, "Yeah, it's Madness."
No, it is. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So all of Madness were in the bathroom watching a film. It's like, so anyway, we won't talk about the bun fight with Hans Zimmer and all that sort of thing, but loads and loads of things. So we're going to be featuring these keyboards, these rare, beautiful machines. And I've got the job of making them look as beautiful as humanly possible. And we will feature them.
Yes.
That is a very cool thing, Ken.
Yeah.
That's a very cool thing.
So, yeah. And hopefully we'll get some of them. I know we probably won't get Tiny on here himself. But yeah, we can get.
Will you start having weekends now?
Well, that's the idea. I want to be able to spend more time in the studio. I want to be able to do some R&Ding. Tiny's coming in to do halves with me on some of the R&D tools. I've got this CNC machine from heaven. What this thing can't do. Oh my God! So we'll have that to be able to build stuff. No, Anaglyph is probably more on the cards now than it ever was, funnily enough, Prometheus. But spend more time in the studios, on my Muzzy as well. and less time trying to get 50-year-old keyboards, trying to get them to work. It's just, I'm done. So I'm going to be doing other things. So, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's keyboards in there that used to be owned by John Lennon, you know, stuff owned by ELO, and it's like he's running names off them, just going, oh, wow, and oh wow, and you know, just over and over. It's just brilliant, the amount of stuff. 50 years worth of collecting and hiring
like
out.
The elder statesmen and stateswomen of the industry, I think the elder state things such as these instruments should be documented and shared publicly. You know, when I say shared, you know, it should be shown. You know, they're wonderful things, and they've contributed to a great many classic moments in music history.
Well, I mean, as we speak, there is an Oberheim 8 voice in the front room that used to belong to Steely Dan, and it's beautiful condition, but I've got to make it look absolutely gorgeous. Actually, he's actually said I've got to make it look better than Spears' one. So
That'll do.
it won't be hard to do. No, it won't be hard to do because it's already pretty good.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I say, it's Dave's
but there's room for improvement, as I pointed out.
I can send you some crayons just to, you know.
Yeah, as long as they're black crayons. One black, one white. That's all I need. Do the keys.
I used to do that on an old things that had been scratched. Used to get a black marker pen and just go. And then you realise that as it dries, it takes on this kind of sheen, and it's just even more obvious than the scratch was.
To it. Yeah.
So, no, that's really interesting, and fingers crossed we'll have some great content coming up next year, and some history. So that should be rather cool.
And isn't it cool? Because every time you see a keyboard or, you know, an instrument, but particularly keyboards for us, of course, that has that kind of history and that kind of ownership, it starts a conversation and a train of thought with whoever you're with that goes on. It's something which triggers so much, and it reaches way back into the past, all the way through, you know, referencing points in your life. Almost more so than the music itself, because it references all the music that was made with it and all the artists. So it becomes a focal point for so much that we've done in our lives.
But one of the strange things that I always find, whenever I speak to people that have used particular instruments, that we as synth nerds and synth fans find amazingly interesting, the actual musicians themselves most of them couldn't give a monkey's left nipple or the hair upon it about what version of the thing it was, or what revision it was, or even what make or model. It just, for them, it's a tool. It makes a sound that they want on that record, and they couldn't care less about, you know, whether it's an RA Mini Moog or not, or whether it's, you know, a Rev 2 Prophet 5 or a Rev 3 Prophet 5. At the end of the day, it's just an instrument that makes a sound that they want at that time. And that always, you know, for you know, somebody who's really into synthesizers and likes to know exactly what was used on that thing, when you actually ask these people, they go, "Oh no, it was something I rented in from a guy, or it was just there in the studio." You know, I'm not saying that's the case for every musician, but a lot of them don't care. And why should they?
That's certainly true of some, and you know, maybe many. I don't know, but most of the people I know and have worked with over the years, or have got to know, they both know and do care which version and what it is. And you know, there are some people for whom the original, you know, there's a particular period of Model Ds that they will always have, and they've got lots of them. And you know, they'll have the RMI, keyboard, keyboard computer, whatever it is, and it's a pile of doo-doos, except it's part of their sound, and they love it. Other people like the chromas and whatever, and it has to be a specific thing. You know, people do some far more than I think than people realise really care. The people that are the most influential really do. They really do. And it's interesting that you know, especially with things like the Rhodes. There's, you know, the Model 1, the Model 2, and so on. The Model 1 was a bit of a pig, but it's got a sound to it. it's got a sound to it, different different amps in it than the Model 2 and so on and so forth. It's a very interesting point you bring up there. Paul McCartney, but he still plays the same ovation bass. It's still the same guitar. It's the guitar, it's the instrument. It's the instrument. So we've banged on about articulation and everything. It's important. Some things you just want to have, right? Sorry, I'm banging on a bit now, but
it's all right. We've got a skill.
I'm really pleased for you, Ken.
Newsflash.
Really pleased.
Yeah,
and
and the stuff that's here will be finished over time, but it's.
I was going to say, because Matt was asking, does Daniel Miller know his vocoder isn't getting finished?
It will get finished. It'll just be.
Private job.
I decide when it gets finished now. I'm done running around like a blue-ass fly all the time, trying to get stuff done, and then people not collecting it. So I'm done with it all, and I want to get on with other things before I mean, what have I got left? 5-6 years. I better get on. Go and do the things I want to do before before they put me in the ground or throw me in a ditch.
That thought has been passing my mind quite a bit these last 6 months.
Honestly, I've never thought about it. But literally the day after my 60th birthday, I went, certainly fewer in front than there is behind.
Exactly.
Kind of.
And that was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to thinking, like, I'm mid-50s, and if I stop doing the job that I do as my day job, chances are if I need to get another day job, it'll have to be in the same industry, and maybe I don't want to be working in that industry that I've been working in for a dozen years or so.
Yeah.
So actually, maybe I should be doing something I really want to do. And Mr. Spears, his name's come up a few times, and if he's watching, hello, and I hope you're well. But Mr. Spears once gave me, I mean, he's always given me some very sage advice, but he always said to me, he says, just be careful, don't turn your hobby into a career, because then it's not your hobby anymore.
Absolutely.
And I thought, oh, yeah, that's a very good point. And he says, very easy to fall out of love with the thing that you've absolutely loved for the last 30, 40 years, because now you have to do it, and your livelihood, relies on you doing it. So,
however, finding ways to make it, it so it's tangential to what you're doing, finding something else which you can bring some of that into is always a good thing.
I mean, how long have I had this montage here now? Week and a bit?
2 weeks.
Or 2 weeks?
3 weeks, yeah.
Right. I've spent maybe an hour with this machine since I took it out of the box. That's it. The rest of it, I mean, I was working on that memory moog 1:15 this morning. I finished it.
What?
Properly finished it. Today I was working on, because these are all the ones that are left over. These are all the jobs that are from hell. They are absolute. So I
can't put them off anymore.
No, and I spent most of the day. I was working on a wasp. Right, and this wasp looks like it was put into a wood chipper. Right, and I'm trying to get this thing going for the guy, and it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this now? At one time a day, I used to have a parade of CS80s that I'll be going through and bang, 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 getting them done, getting them out. And it's got harder and harder and harder to do. And this stuff is just so expensive, and it's the people that are buying these old analog pieces now are not even musicians. They're just head fund managers and .commers or whatever. And literally it got to the point where I could give them a synth that doesn't even work. They'll never know. They'll never turn it on. They're going to put it in a glass case and say, "Hey, look what I got." And it's like, no, I want to work on stuff that means something. Plus the money.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, so which will help greatly.
That helps.
Yeah. So, as lots of other people have been saying, the best of luck with that.
Yeah.
And hopefully, these things that we're talking about will come to fruition, and
and people will get to see these things that have been
Yeah.
tucked away for
Exactly.
donkeys.
Yeah.
You know, and hear them, because everything works. Everything needs, as Tiny puts it, that Spong touch. Okay. You want me to touch them? Okay, I'll do that for money.
Mike says, how long will it take for you to clear out the backlog, and do you have anything in the shed that you can give away, unusable or otherwise?
I don't know. It depends on how long it takes the fire to get through it. Really, the accidental fire.
You can't do that now. You've said it live on air.
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear.
Tybee, they're going, get my Matrix 12 out of there, please.
So that's a show, but yeah, watch this space. Some interesting things, hopefully, in the new year. In many respects, I might even have a new studio in the new year if all goes to plan. So some very interesting things going on. So we're going to just draw things to a close. But before I do, there was one question which I had to chuckle at. On this question, have you thought about getting a host that's under 40? We did have one once, I think. And then
Get a host that's under 40.
Yeah,
That's me.
decided to leave.
I'm only 7.5.
What do you mean shorter?
Oh yeah, maybe that's what he means.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's got to be it, because we're
Well,
all
Rob,
youthful.
You're quite short, aren't you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm only 5'6".
When you're on your knees, you look quite short. Oh, is that a secret? Sorry, I let the cat out of the
it's
bag
not-
now.
All I can say is it's not something we've. I'm just trying to keep this on a straight and narrow.
Yeah.
It's not
Pad it
something
out,
we've
pad it out.
actively thought about. I personally think there are a lot of these things, YouTube channels, featuring plenty of people under the age of 40, and I'm sure that they cater to their market. We like to err on the side of experience
And-
It is.
And good looks.
and good looks.
You know, we're the eye candy. We're the eye candy.
Exactly.
know,
So
you've-
no, we haven't. But who knows? And now you see. Now here's Lady
There you go.
Aptitude says female, not British, and under 50. Listen,
My type of girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, believe me when I say it's not for want of trying. Okay. And we have all, since this channel started, wanted to bring in everyone that's in this community, whatever gender you might identify as, whatever age you might be, whatever type of music you might make. We want everyone to be involved, whether you're a guest or a presenter or whatever. And we've tried, and sometimes we've succeeded. Sometimes we have been able to get some amazing people from all walks of life in here, and we will continue to do so. But yeah,
Apparently Babs isn't under 50, but I don't think that matters.
doesn't matter.
No.
She posted
Yeah.
a lovely picture of her in 1982, I think it was. And yeah, let's just say. Hey.
Just on that note, I run another group that's got almost 30,000 members, and it's global. And we've been trying to, for the last 5
Is
years...
this the Range Rover thing?
Yeah, increase representation. Increase representation mostly from QuickFit, actually. We've been trying to increase representation seriously for at least 5 years. We want to get some females involved. We want to get people from any gender. It doesn't matter. And people from different continents, different cultures.
Yeah.
We need it because the thing we covers the whole globe and lots of different communities. Yeah. It's really difficult, and we ask often. So, if there is someone out there that's better looking than us. The other thing is, the young people do have lots of energy and enthusiasm, but what we make up for with that is we have treachery. Yeah.
I was going to say for a minute there.
Yeah, we have treachery. That's what. Yeah. And I have a penguin of
Then you
death.
have a penguin.
Yeah. The penguin seal of approval.
And just to tie up the few loose ends, he was late to the show and he paid the price. Thank you very much indeed to the wonderful Dr. Mike Metlake, author of the fantastic Synth Gems book, which I've been flicking through again just recently.
Hi, Mike.
Sorry he's late, but hello to all the nice people in the computer, followed by a belch with lots of reverb, just to make you all feel at home. B. Lee, who is a new name, I think. I've not seen that name before. Thanks from LA, CA.
Nice.
I've been hankering after coming back to California, almost to the detriment of my hopefully planned trip to New York. But as Manny said to me, have you ever been to LA? I said, yes. He said, have you ever been to New York? I said, no. He said, go to New York then. So that's probably what I'll do, but I will be back in California soon. But thank you, B. Lee, whoever you might be, B. Lee, from LA. Thank you for your donation. The wonderful Carl Bedford over there in Belgium. I'm assuming that's where he is at the moment. His €10 opening kitty towards Rob and Ben's annual visit to Madame Schwanz's Liebe on Muschestraat next May. Superbooth is what he's talking about. We don't do those sorts of things. Although there was a fantastic shop next to our hotel this year that sold ribbons, basically, that one would wear to a certain type of party that doesn't cover much of the human form. Just shreds of fabric and leather. Most interesting. Prometheus, have some acid, 303. See, that doesn't trigger my because it makes sense, 303. Thank you very much. And to Steve, who just bought a DX11 this week. Wonderful stuff. Another 10 minutes on the Genos 2 for a £5. Thank you very much. If you are a fan of the Genos 2, do go and see Woody's video. I don't know if it's still going, but it premiered at 7, I believe. I don't know if he was doing it live or whether it was a pre-record, but he was going to go through the Genos 2, and I think if anyone would get that, it's him. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was that shop in Berlin. James was with us. It was Martin Gore's wardrobe shop. It really, it just the mind boggled, and I've been around the block. Oh, and the final donation just come in from Kissing the Machine, watching the Leeds. Oh, yeah, what are Leeds doing? You've got our old manager, Farker. He's brilliant, he is. We shouldn't have ever got rid of him. I hope they're doing well. Sorry?
What an unfortunate name.
Daniel Farker. Yeah. German guy, very nice. Big buff guy, very high-pitched voice. Very good. Anyway, thank you for the donation. We've gone stupidly over time here. And it looks like the new computer has passed muster. I need to figure out. I might actually put the camera over here so it's right at eye level, and then I can. I'm still figuring this stuff out. But isn't it a therapeutic but painful thing? Rebuilding
simultaneously. Yeah.
No, it's awful.
It's but no, it's awful.
But it's good when you finished. It's good when you finished.
It's awful, but I stay up until stupid o'clock because I just want to put the next thing on and the next thing on. I lost my sample robot license. I have no idea where it is. I haven't heard back from the developer yet.
Oh, you're going to have to sample yourself now.
I know.
Exterminate.
But yeah, very, very, very happy with my purchase. So I think. Oh, actually, Andrew, you don't have a Mac Studio yet, do you?
No, but I'm going to get something. I'm probably going to get the laptop. I'm going to get a lappy, just for live, just so I can do music. I'll use it for music. Nothing else.
We've all got Mac Studio now. Ben's got one. Kent's got one. Now I've got one.
Yeah, you haven't got a Threadripper system though.
I haven't.
Several of them.
As Kent said earlier on in the show,
got an air fryer.
Face bothered.
You've got one at last.
Well, I bought it for Fiona for Christmas, but she was going on about getting an air fryer so much I had to give it to her early before she bought one.
Good excuse that. Then she'll want something else for Christmas now.
Oh, she does.
Words.
Yeah, but I know. I've already got loads of other things, including that mug with the huge thing on it.
But her hair is lovely.
And as she would say, oh no, I can't say what she
you
would
can't say.
No.
She would tell me to
and then
go somewhere,
Thank you.
but then go, thank you. Yeah. It's kind of, yeah,
No, it really suits her.
It
All
does.
she needs is that wench's outfit on.
steady. And
But
on
that
that
won't
note,
be till tomorrow. It's only Saturdays, remember?
right, I'm going to go and get my daughter from work and then drink some wine. And then I'm going out for a meal tomorrow. Are you doing anything fantastic over the weekend?
Working.
Working, yeah. Andrew? Working?
I'm trying to avoid it this weekend. I've got some work I do need to get done, but I'll work one day this weekend, and I'll probably split that over there. It's the fight. It's the last bit of F1, isn't it? Is it this weekend or next?
Is it?
Weekend?
I don't know. I don't watch.
Can't remember.
Talking of F1 though, have you watched the Brawn documentary?
No,
on
I
Disney
haven't.
Plus?
I'm saving that.
Bloody
that may
brilliant.
get watched this weekend. I have been
Bloody
watching
brilliant.
the Doctor Who stuff though. That's
Oh, yeah, that's
the
tomorrow.
Original Doctor Who. Yeah, good.
That
Watch
new
it.
one's tomorrow.
Watch it.
Anyway, on that note, we will be back same time, same place next week with Daniel and Mitchell from Cherry Audio and maybe somebody else very special. So do stay tuned for that. We'll announce that as soon as we get confirmation. But until then, have a great weekend. For everyone that's in the Americas, or shall I say just the United States of America, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you've had a good one so far. And
That's
get
why I
lots of
mentioned the
bargains.
Genos, by the way.
Yeah,
It's another
Get-
turkey. So anyway, now I'm going to move on.
get some Black Friday deals, help capitalism, and all that stuff. But seriously, if you find anything that's really good, stick it on our Facebook page and let everybody else know.
Reminds me, there's a quickie for you.
Go on then.
8DO doing their Black Friday sale,
Oh God, yes, you mentioned this.
which is a laugh really because they've got to be quick because their sale ends the 31st of December. It's the long Good Friday. They're doing their string collection for £149. Its original price was £2,500.
That's a-
No, beg your pardon. No, I do beg your pardon. It wasn't that much. It was only about £2,000. But their vocal, talking choir thing, that's £2,500, and that's 149. Their strings is $99 and was something like about between £1,500 and £1,800.
What?
$1,800.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
big,
a bargain.
big drops.
Yeah,
So which who?
8DO.
8DO.
Oh, 8DO.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. They've
Yeah,
got some good
8DO stuff,
libraries.
which is quality.
Yeah,
as they say.
quality.
Aye.
And as Ian says, don't forget Ramsey's show tomorrow, 1 p.m.
Oh
UK
no,
time.
not forgetting Ramsey's tomorrow.
Because it's a live jam thing. If you want to join in, apparently, you need to get a piece of software. I don't know what it is, but go onto his channel. You'll find some stuff. But yeah, it's going to be some sort of live online jam where everybody will be in time with everyone else.
We need to get that. We need to get that for the pub.
We need to
Yeah.
try that. Yeah,
What
Yeah.
time's that?
1 p.m. UK.
Yeah, 1 p.m. tomorrow.
So yeah, lots of good stuff. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Until then, have a fantastic rest of the weekend, and we will see you all very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.